So I finally got 20th Anniversary Hulk, one of the new Marvel Legends action figures released based on the inaugural wave of Marvel Legends made by Toy Biz. But is this Hulk any good, soulmates, and is he worth your money? Be sure you stick around until the end, soulmates, because we're going to talk about what Hulk characters we want to see next as a Marvel Legend. If you support what I do, please click subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss a single video of mine when it comes out. One of the first things I noticed when I was handling Hulk in the package was that he was a very beefy toy. Like, you could really feel the weight on that Marvel Legends packaging. And then another thing I noticed immediately after was when I put Hulk's packaging next to the old Toy Biz Marvel Legends packaging, well, the boxes on both were about the same size. The real drawback to this is that on Hasbro's card, you can't fit a comic book in the package, and I think that's something that really would have topped this one off and made it really nice. I would have loved to have seen a comic book in the package with Hulk. But in lieu of a comic book, we got a base with a two-sided backdrop. The base has the old school Marvel Legends logo on it, and then the backdrop fits into the base, and depending on which side you want to show, you can see either the comic book cover or you can see the artwork that is reminiscent of the original Toy Biz base that was included in the package. But something that's different about Hulk is that he also has another base included, believe it or not, and this base is a special effects base that is kind of neat because you can make Hulk look like he's landing on the ground or punching it, or else he's smashing his enemies into it. And to be honest, I would have rather they just gotten rid of the two-sided backdrop altogether and maybe expanded upon this base a little bit and included a comic, and I think that would have made a pretty much perfect package. Another fun accessory that we see with Hulk is a disembodied Mandroid head that's got all kinds of nice paint on it that makes it look really worn and torn, and it doesn't really fit on a Marvel Legends body at all. It has a little socket on the inside where it makes you think that maybe you can put it on an action figure, but you really can't. Still, it's kind of cool to have, and I put it in Hulk's hand and made him look like he's doing a Hamlet soliloquy and all that stuff. It was really fun to work with. Hulk is one of my favorite Marvel Legends of late, and I never had the 80th anniversary one, but this one is pretty much the same action figure, except that he's been repainted with slightly duller green colors and purple colors, and he's also got a couple of new head sculpts. And speaking of which, those head sculpts are oh so very nice, and they evoke the 1970s era of Hulk perfectly. My favorite of the two is definitely the more calm looking head sculpt, the one that looks like he's about to go to sleep and revert back to Banner, and it's just so beautiful the way that the exhaustion was captured in Hulk's face. This is one of the most perfect head sculpts I think I've ever seen on an action figure. The other head sculpt is really good too. I think that it captures Hulk's anger perfectly. You can see the rage pouring out of his face. You can hear the roar of his shouts. But the paint apps on the lips are a little bit weird for me, because on this head sculpt where you see the mouth, you also see part of his gum line. And the gum line is about as dark in value as his lips are, and because of that, it kind of makes it look like you're seeing one big lip across the gums and the lips from a distance. It doesn't read terribly well when you're looking at them from maybe about 10 feet away or so. On my version of Hulk at least, the paint apps were a little bit sloppy on his angry face, because it looks like they got a lot of white on his gum line. So I think the extra paint that we see on my version of the angry face makes the gums look not as obvious because there's a smaller area in which they're appearing, but it's still enough to make me look at it and go, "Whoo boy, I'm not sure about that one." That said, whatever perceived flaws I see in this head sculpt did not prevent me from having fun with this action figure, because I got him in all kinds of scenarios with different characters. I went a little bit nuts and got out a lot of my old Toy Biz action figures, as well as one of the new Hasbro ones, to have Hulk duke it out with the characters that we see on the original comic book cover that was included with the Marvel Legends figure. But anyway guys, looking at Hulk's body, it is kind of dated by 2022, and it didn't feel like a bad body because it does have some very nice sculpting on it, and this does feel like I'm holding the Hulk. But there were some things I noticed that I would like to see improved upon in the future. For instance, there's the ab crunch. That piece of articulation surprised me because with ab crunches like this on Marvel Legends, I fully expected it to be like an ab rocker where I could move Hulk to every side and be able to twist him and bend him over, turn him. It didn't really work that way. What it was it was more or less a glorified ab crunch. I could not get the upper torso of Hulk to twist at all. The most I could really get him to do was to bend back and forth and then side to side. And that's really all he's got. He didn't even bend side to side all that much, unfortunately. Also, another thing that I would really like to see on a future Hulk is the ability to do the Hulk sonic clap. I feel like this is something that's really missing from Hulk action figures lately, because I keep thinking of the Hulk and I keep thinking, man, I really want to make him do a sonic clap, but unfortunately his shoulders really don't have the range to get his arms into place. Admittedly, it is a little bit difficult to get that to happen because the Hulk is a very beefy character, and his arms are so huge and his shoulders are so huge that it limits the amount of articulation he's got. He only has a single jointed elbow, and it's got an elbow swivel in addition, and it doesn't really bend all that far. It bends about to a 90-degree angle. Fortunately, this doesn't prevent him from doing any of the typical things that we would expect to see from Hulk. And you might expect him to grab characters, you can still do that. And you might expect him to go and punch characters, again, you can still do that. And speaking of grabbing and punching characters, he comes with an extra set of hands. He has open hands that allow him to grab characters, and then he's got fists that allow him to punch. And do you really need anything else besides that? Well, aside from maybe a sonic clap, not really. I think that once we've got those two sets of hands, we've pretty much got everything we need for the Incredible Hulk. And aside from that, what got me about Hulk here was how limited the articulation on his hips were, because you could really barely get his hips to move forward at all. When you move Hulk's leg, you can maybe get it to about a 45-degree angle, but that's about where it stops, and that's maybe not the best thing for Hulk, because he does have a little bit more movement on his character than that. The last thing that I didn't really like about Hulk was the fringe and the way that it's painted. There's not a lot of fringe on Hulk's pants, but they've painted it so it looks like there's a lot of fringe. But it's very subtle the way that the fringe is sculpted on. The paint is kind of just painted way over that so it spills onto the rest of his pants, and it doesn't look really bad, but it looks kind of when you look up close to it. I think the thing that bothers me most about that paint job is that when you get to the back, they just didn't really bother to paint the fringe on the bottom of his pants on his backside, and also there's not really any tears in his pants on his backside either. Other than the things I mentioned, the Hulk's lower body is just as good as his upper body is. The knees have a great degree of movement on them, and so do his ankles, and that makes up for what we see in the limited hip articulation and enables us to get a lot more out of Hulk than we think we might be able to based on the hips. I think one of the things I'm most grateful for here is that Hulk is a very stable action figure, and I was able to get him in so many different poses so easily with all of his greatest friends and foes. Aside from the fringe that we were talking about earlier, the paint on Hulk looks pretty good. We do see some subtle shading across the greens, and we also see some nice subtle shifts in hue on his pants. I would like them to be a little bit brighter than what they are, but even so, he does look like a really good rendition of Hulk. He's just got darker colors than maybe I would prefer. Is this one worth getting, Soulmates? Well, at full price, I wasn't particularly thrilled about him, but at a discount, I'd say, yeah, definitely check him out. I think that you're gonna have as much fun with him as I have, and just go into it knowing the things that I'm telling you today, and I think that you're going to have so much fun with him, it's going to blow your mind. Well, now that we've talked about Hulk, guys, what Hulk characters do we want to see next? Well, personally, I would love to see a new version of the Absorbing Man. Now, I know that there was a Build-A-Figure done a while back that was pretty decent, but let me be honest here, that was like ages ago at this point. Well, Soulmates, what do you think of this 20th anniversary Hulk action figure? Is this one that you want for your collection? Do you already have him? Are you on the fence whether or not you want to get him? Or after you've seen this, are you just not that interested? I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think of 20th anniversary Hulk down in the comment section. I would love to hear from you guys, and let me know what Hulk character you want to see next. If you'd like to see my review of Dark Beast from the Sugarman wave, you can check out that video here, Soulmates.